Welcome to another episode of The Inspection, where we take a closer look at all things real estate, home ownership, and local businesses and business owners in the community. We are now at episode 2, and I'm very, very excited to welcome a neighbor, friend, and colleague in the industry, and one of our trusted vendors with myself and the Holzl Homes team, Luke Langer with Goosehead Insurance and the Langer Agency. What's going on, Luke?
Not much, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Getting ready for the holidays. Got the 3-week-old in the other room, so just trying to stay awake. So if I do fall asleep during this, just shout loudly. And these headphones are nice enough, or it should wake me up. So
Yeah, hey, I bet, man. Going from 1 to 2, it's a pretty big deal. And I gotta say, I gotta show you something. I got something for your little baby, right? So I got him a little
there it is.
onesie goose head here for baby Connor. So congratulations again to you and Annette or Jeanette. I can't wait to meet the little guy. So
Yeah, and then again, congrats to you as well. Baby Will is I know doing well, yeah, so he's doing great, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, he's a tank, Chris. If you want to know, he weighs about as much as my oldest son Logan. He's 4 months. When Logan was 6 months, Will weighs that at 4 months. So he's a bag of bricks, that's for sure. So
He'll be playing O-line for your
that's
your
right.
favorite Big Ten football team
Yeah,
in no time.
he'll be watching the blind side for Logan. So that's for sure.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in, Luke. I'm excited, talking the insurance market, what's going on, because, in our world, we're talking about interest rates and the market and inflation and all these things. And the insurance market's a big part of this as well. But really first want to dive into Goosehead and why you started the Langer Agency, what you're all about, what sets you apart. So kind of take it away. Give us a rundown on all things Goosehead and Langer Agency.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And with Goosehead, it's interesting how I started. I wasn't really looking for anything. I knew I wanted to kind of be an entrepreneur, and I was looking into doing my own business. And I actually was reached out by a recruiter from Goosehead. And to be honest with you, I was immediately hooked, right? In my opinion, Goosehead is a true disruptor in the insurance industry that is much needed, right? And kind of it helps evolve. So one of the nice things, and there's actually 3 points of why I went with Goosehead, is because we also offer personalized solutions, right? So every customer has their unique insurance needs. Me, as an independent broker from Goosehead, I truly can put my customers' needs first. I'm not bound to one company's solutions or have to kind of fit my client's needs into one mold. I can go out and search for them, right? So those personalized solutions and putting the customer first is first and foremost, right? The second one is we're extremely efficient, right? So we can save you time and money. So currently, I have over about 40 A-rated insurance carriers that I can find the best fit for my clients' needs for and budget, right? So again, not only am I just shopping one carrier, I can shop up to 40. So that puts you, the consumer or client, in a much better view than elsewhere. And then the third thing is really we keep it simple, right? We combine technology with the complex process of really buying insurance, and we're making that entire experience, from whether it's running quotes to signing documents, is just extremely simple. Because let's face it, right? Insurance it isn't something that you just talk about with your friends, while you're grabbing a bourbon or going out to dinner, right? So
Yeah, no, 100%. And I know, we've had some mutual clients, and you're actually working on some policy changes for me to possibly save a good amount of money in 2023 and going forward. Yeah, it's not the most glamorous thing,
no.
I mean, really a lot of parts about buying or selling a home aren't all that glamorous either, and sometimes can be cumbersome. And that's one thing that, as a future consumer of Goosehead Insurance, I can appreciate how streamlined it is and how much simpler it is, but also getting you the right coverage. I know you've said to me time and time again, That's most important. But before we dive into shopping for the right coverage and what claims people are sending through most commonly and how people should be covered, what walk us through the current insurance market landscape. What's going on right now? What are the projections for next year? What should people be most mindful of if they're shopping or they're kind of not sure what they should do?
Yeah, no, and that's a great question, Chris. Is really the current state of the market is it's a hard market, right? And when we say hard market, right, from the insurance perspective, is they're really characterized by high premiums and fewer options for coverage with I would say a reduced willingness for carriers to really compete with one another for business, right? And unfortunately, this affects the consumer, right? My clients with their bank accounts. So, there's a couple factors that go into it, right? Is one There's one persistent long-term factor that's still affecting us, and that is the obvious of it's the COVID-19 pandemic, right? But that compounded is as we kind of pull out of that is with the unpredictable weather, right? That we seem to be seeing with increased frequencies, whether that is on our southern and east coast with hurricanes, right? Whether it's the various windstorms and hail that we're seeing here in the Midwest, or whether it is the fires that we're seeing out in the West and California and Northwest, right? There's these all of these factors are really resulting in the challenges for insurance carriers to predict costs in the property and casualty space, right? So there's a thing that's called really social inflation that's really escalated litigation costs, right? And the impact to claim payments and how much carriers ultimately pay. And as these continue to rise, it's pushing casualty costs up in the industry. And again, the niche that I choose to make, being at Goosehead, is that this isn't the same for all carriers, right? It's not all doom and gloom. There's some of the major carriers that, have fit this mold, and even some other smaller ones. But that's where choice becomes an extremely big deal, and the ability to shop across these carriers to make sure that the impacts to you are minor, if not any, right? So as we're able to really save a lot of our clients money just by simply shopping and creating a competitive environment for them that they're not able to find elsewhere, which is truly advantageous for us here at Goosehead and the Langer Agency.
So how, because it is really that simple. I'm sure some people would be like, all right, well, I got to call the office, or I got to call Luke. I got to talk to him about the age of my home, all these things. And it really is just, inputting some key data points, and, very quickly you can get to work and get things done. So let's say I'm sitting at home right now, and I'm debating on just shopping around, knowing what I have with, big box retailers, State Farm, Allstate, some of the bigger names everybody knows. What do I do? How do I shop for the right insurance and the right coverage? But also, how do I do that with, Goosehead and the Langer Agency?
Yeah, no, great question. And something that I think, you've got to understand when you're first shopping for insurance is that a basic homeowner's policy, it just isn't enough. So if you think about it, as your career advances and as you move on with your life, right? You bring in from your first home to now kids to your second home, and then you get that promotion or you change careers. So your income increases, right? There's a lot of these changes that occur throughout your life, and it's absolutely essential that you really have the insurance protection that keeps up to date with you, right? So this is going to absolutely help you avoid those expensive gaps in coverage, or it prevents you from paying too much out of pocket for a particular claim. So really, to be adequately protected, you've got to have a homeowner's policy that absolutely grows with you, right? And one of the main deals in items that's hitting us right now is the reconstruction costs, right? Is that, how that differs from market value. Because I see a lot of clients, as we look at it, the market value from your home is completely different from the replacement value, right? And you've got to have a policy that accurately reflects the cost of rebuilding your home. And that's more than what your market cost is at most times, right? So one thing that I absolutely encourage clients to really take a look at is extended dwelling coverage, right? So this is going to help rebuild your construction costs and the change, and it adds up more to your current policy. So the case in point right now, as we talk about this hard market, right? We have inflation that just recently it declined, so that's good news. But it's still at close to an all-time high. You have labor costs that is up, right? So all of these consider real life scenarios. So if your home is insured for 100% of what its replacement cost is, that price based on the value of your home when the policy was originally written, it could change, right? So an example of, let's say a massive tornado comes through and hits Geneva, right, where you and I are from. Hopefully, everyone is okay. But in this scenario, let's say it destroys your home and hundreds of others nearby. The real scenario is that due to the high demand caused by this, act of God or natural disaster, right? Construction materials and labors will increase by 20% in your area. So let's say your $200,000 home will now cost you $240,000 to rebuild, right? And this is when that extended coverage come in. So then if you do have a 20% extended coverage, right, which is optional that you can provide on your home insurance, you get that 240. But without it, you get the 200,000. And this does include inflation, and this is a very real scenario that we're seeing with homeowners right now. So it's extremely important to really understand your coverages and making sure that you ask the right questions with your agency.
And how, for an even more common scenario than an act of God, as we mentioned, for everybody that lives in Tri-Cities, King County, surrounding areas, a few months back, we got a hailstorm. And of course, everyone's getting their door pounded in by the storm chasers. What's important for people to know? I feel like that's got to be the most common claim is roof coverage or siding, fire and a few others. But what does that look like? This happens. How does that work with Goosehead specifically, and what that process may look like, and any advantages there with you?
Yeah, so with Goosehead is we're your one-stop shop for all your needs, right? Whether it is reshopping, whether it is getting a quote, whether it is making a claim. So my clients that have recently made claims due to the storm that has came in, right? What happens is they give us a call. They say, hey, here's the storm that came through. I had an adjuster take a look at it. It says that I need a new roof, right? So then what Goosehead does is we go to work, right? We have the #1 net promoter score, customer satisfaction in the industry, and it shows to a lot of our claims process, right? So all of our customer service and support agents, they are actually licensed. So they will work with the carrier, right, that we signed you up for. So whether it is MetLife, right, Openly, Travelers, we then go to work as a Goosehead broker to then work with those carriers to make sure that you get everything that you need, right? Whether it is you need to move out of your house, right? We'll tap into the loss of use that's included in your home insurance. Whether it is working with them where the adjuster is stating that, hey, you need a new roof, and then we have an insurance carrier that comes in and says, you know what, a new roof may be reaching it. I think that maybe, this 10 by 10 section needs to be replaced, right? And when that happens, you have shingles that are new that don't necessarily match the other shingles on the roof of your home, right? So that could cause really an eyesore. So we make sure to take care of all of that stress off of your shoulders and really work with our independent carriers to make sure that we provide the best experience and really put back your home to what ultimately you're paying for in your premium, which is like new or better.
Yeah, it's awesome to have people that are licensed on your side as like that liaison for that conversation, because I think to the casual insurance consumer, they see Goosehead as an Allstate or a State Farm, and it's actually a broker that is that liaison to these bigger companies and big and small companies that get you the most competitive rates but the best coverage. And so to have somebody in that process, it doesn't add friction. In fact, it probably makes it a cleaner process and more accurate and more advantageous to the consumer when they've got a qualified set of eyes and ears helping through that process.
Right. Yeah. And we're provide with the best, right? So, when we mention A-rated carriers, we mean that. If any carrier dips below that A rate, we actually discontinue selling their services, right? So we really partner with the best. And some of those include MetLife, Travelers, right? Progressive, Nationwide, Safeco, Allstate. There's a new company that's called Branch that is a true disruptor in the industry and does a great job. Lemonade openly is one of those. So, we have very strong ties and relationships with these carriers, and only work with the best, and that's what they believe too, when working with Goosehead. So it really is advantageous for us, and it shows by our net promoter score. If you go and look it up, right, we are ranked there for an insurance agency. I kid you not, Chris. We are higher than companies like Apple, Four Seasons, right? That's where we stay for our net promoter score, which is close to 2 times as much as our next competitor. So it's something that I really looked into, as we talked about how I decided to start an agency and really decided on Goosehead. And these are some of the main factors on why I did, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something to be said. And on my side as a realtor, I think clients really do appreciate that personal interaction and, knowing who the person is on the other end of the phone. And so the fact that you're local in the market for folks, again, in Kane County, surrounding areas, Geneva, particular, Mill Creek, it's great to have somebody at your disposal. So if you see, Luke, driving his gorgeous, newly wrapped Goosehead Langer Agency pickup, that thing just, you're going 25 through the neighborhood, but it just feels like you're just flying because of the logo. It's awesome and super well done. I'm definitely jealous of that. But Luke, anything else you feel like, whether it's your clients watching this, potential future clients, somebody that feels like they're happy with their coverage, anything else you think is important for the masses to know?
Yeah, I think, if it's a bit of advice I would provide. If you don't talk to your agent at least once a year, you probably should, right? It's something that you should keep an eye on because things aren't getting any less expensive. And the fact of the matter is that there's companies out there that want your business, right? And anytime that there is a market where you have carriers, right, in the insurance agency, or even in general, businesses competing for your business, that's ultimately the goal for consumers, right? And that's what you want. And that's something that we really help foster. So if you don't talk to your insurance agent at least once a year, you probably should. If you haven't changed or taken a deep dive into your policy, I would say within the last year as well, you probably should, right? And that's where it's just a phone call away. I think some people shy away from it because, again, it's not the most glamorous thing to talk about. But if you put things in perspective, your home is the most expensive asset that you'll probably purchase in your lifetime, right? You've got to have it protected, and you got to understand what coverages you do or don't have, and if that's an acceptable risk for you. And that's something that we pride ourselves on right here as at the Goosehead Agency, the Langer Agency with Goosehead, is, we want to make sure that we guide each of our clients through their questions and offering the products and knowledge that really is going to serve them best at the most competitive rates. And that's where it really comes in. So I'll tell you what, I'll leave the audience with 5 discounts to know. I know we've talked a lot about home, but let me give you 5 discounts to know for auto. I know that, you may have a son or daughter that is turning 16 and adding her on, or if you're looking just to kind of where to save in the new year, right? Give me a call because I'll be happy to. But with 5 discounts to know is good students, right? Does your son or daughter have a B or higher grades? Insurance companies will give you credit if you can provide proof of that. So that's one discount to know. A second one is a defensive driver's course. Did you take a defensive driver's course and submit your completion certificate? If you do, insurance companies offer an added credit that you've taken that. home and auto bundle, and that is huge, right? That's one thing that at Goosehead we can do in really cross carrier is bundle your home and auto. So we always talk about this one. And if you can, ensure your home and auto is with the same company. The second thing is safety features, right? Many agents do not apply every single discount available for the safety features of your auto. So make sure that your agent knows all about your anti theft device, anti lock brakes, airbags, daytime running lights, right? You name it, make sure that they're aware of all those bells and whistles that your new auto comes from. And then number 4 is low mileage. Some insurance companies, not all, will actually offer savings that if you don't drive your vehicle frequently. With a lot of this remote work environment, right? That could be a discount for you that you may not be receiving. Progressive is such of one company. And then the last one is really telematics, right? And telematics is something new that's kind of coming on, but it's really a wireless technology that a lot of insurance carriers are monitoring and troubleshooting with various vehicle performance, right? So they monitor this information real time. So it makes it possible in practical applications such as onboard GPS, OnStar, and other features. This technology as well helps you save on auto insurance by allowing you to prove that you're a safe driver, you're a conscientious driver who deserves that credit. And a lot of them are also looking into the miles, right? It's as easy as downloading an app on your phone. And these phones have become so sophisticated, they know whether or not you're driving in the driver's seat or if you're a passenger side. So those are some tips that I'll leave you with, Chris, and your audience. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a good reminder that you're not strictly homeowner. You encapsulate everything in the insurance world and can provide a ton of value in a lot of ways, whether it's the full umbrella coverage of everything you need with your life and your dependents, or one in particular product. So we'll definitely put all of your contact information in the information below. But Luke, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best website, email, phone number?
yeah, you know what? You can find me at luke.langer@goosehead.com, or, give me a ring or text, right? I'd be happy to help you with any of your insurance needs. I'm on Facebook. I'm even on Twitter, so that's a riot. But yeah, feel free to reach out and happy to have that conversation.
Awesome. Well, Luke, we appreciate the knowledge. This is just scratching the surface. So if you want to dive into more things around your policy, again, it's not like it's $1 a minute to have a conversation with Luke and Goosehead to find out, if you're being covered in the right way and also being cost effective. And most importantly, the swag, as you saw, from the onesie for my newborn, as well as koozies, jerseys for softball teams, hats, you name it, Luke can hook it up. So make sure when you call, you ask for a specific piece of swag that you'd like. And for those that didn't get a chance to attend our Dog Days of Summer event this past year, we're excited to bring that back next year. So much more details to come later in 2023. But Luke, we appreciate it. I hope you and your family have an amazing holiday season, and we're definitely going to be doing a lot of great work for people next year.
Yeah, you bet, Chris. Thanks for having me on. We appreciate it.
Cheers. Take care.